Welcome to Conversations with Linda. I'm Linda. You know I love a good conversation, so let's have one. Now, before we have a conversation, I've got to give you a good dose of medicine. You know, laughter is good for the soul. So did you hear the one about the little pony? Why couldn't the little pony sing the lullaby? It's because he was a little horse. Man, come on in for this conversation. As you all know, the workforce has really changed between COVID and a new generation entering the workforce. Things just don't look the same as they looked 20, 30 years ago. So I've invited some special guests to our conversation today who both have experience in the field of hiring, recruiting, and human resources in general. And so I want to welcome to Conversations our special guests, Mance HN and LaShundia Brooks. Welcome to Conversations with me.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we're just gonna jump on into this conversation. I want you all, and can I say y'all are just mighty sharp today. You're looking like you're just really prosperous.
We're working hard.
Human resources and recruiting must be a prosperous field, a lucrative field to be in. But I want to just kind of start talking and allowing you to share about your experiences and what's going on out there to help our viewers, because there are some who are looking for jobs, and then there are some who are on jobs that they just need some advice, some wisdom from your expertise. But before we get into that, I want you to tell me specifically your role or your specialty in the companies that you work for. LaShundia, I'll start with you.
Sure. My specialty is talent and recruitment management.
Okay.
Is the area that I focus in.
Talent and recruitment management. Okay.
What I do, I'm a corporate recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
I recruit for AGFS, which is all of the business aspects and hubs in America.
In America?
Yes.
All right. Come on up in here.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So, how long have you all been in human resources, recruitment, hiring? How about you, LaShundia? How long have you been in the
I've
business?
actually been in human resources now for about 28 years.
Wow. Yes. And you, man?
Well, I've actually been with FedEx 41 years.
Huh?
41 years.
41 years?
I just celebrated 41 years.
Yes.
Do
you have a gold watch or? Okay.
Yeah, started 18. And that was 41 years ago. Yeah. And
wow.
I've never swayed. Yes. Consistent.
So, you all have seen a lot of changes, a lot of
absolutely
coming and going, and let's talk about that. What have you seen in your tenure with these companies and just the experiences you've had, even yourselves? Let's talk about the landscape. What has changed now? What used to be that's no longer?
Well, what used to be that's not any longer is paper applications. We'll start there.
Okay.
A lot of applications are now electronic.
Okay.
And in addition to that, they're accessible via smart device. So for the most part, most applications you can fill out using your smart device, your iPhone, your iPad, through LinkedIn, through several application tracking processes.
So people need to have some skills relative to computers, right?
That
technology.
That would definitely be helpful.
Okay.
Yes.
Because there are some people that are still resistant. And I know not the young people, we automatically think about the young people, but there are people who are coming into or transitioning from one career to another or one situation to another. Absolutely. And they're kind of resistant to this whole tech. I know y'all don't think so, but I'm telling you, I know some folks that say, I don't want to have to learn all of that. I know some folks that have quit jobs because they did not want to move to new systems, new computer systems. They didn't want to embrace the technology. And you're saying that now even just the application, no paper, it's all digital.
It's all digital.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Okay. What about you, Mance?
Yeah, and to piggyback on her point, I've noticed, of course, it used to be paper applications, but what's happening now, there's a big resistance to that. If people hear it on the radio, they'll listen. If they see a picture, they'll look at it. But if they actually have to read it,
Wow.
there's a resistance there. So I find myself now more having to be physically involved. How are you? I'm Mance. This is what I do. I want you to be a part of this because we offer A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So I'm hearing it and I'm listening to it. So now it's more inviting than I have to sit down and go online, punch a button. And I'm finding this also. When people go online for jobs, it's usually those jobs that are high dollar.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
The high dollar jobs, they'll go online for that. But your jobs that are hourly, pretty much, you pretty much have to sell those in person.
Listen.
Just to hear you use that technology, that terminology, I'm sorry, that you have to sell those. That's another thing we're seeing in this COVID climate.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Is that we're having to sell people on the idea of working.
Yes.
What has happened?
Well, here's one thing, and we're in this thing together. Right?
Absolutely.
But it's a passion with me because I see it, and not just in Memphis, but as I travel the country, it's the same thing everywhere. There's another pandemic out there.
Okay.
Can we just be candid about this?
Right now.
There's another pandemic.
I love it.
And
Tell me about it.
The new pandemic is called stimulus check.
Stimulus check is the new pandemic.
The new pandemic is called unemployment. The money that was supposed to be a temporary help changed the mindset of people.
Absolutely.
And they've had it so long, over a year now, going to 2 years, until now at this point.
You better preach in this house. Y'all hear this word?
Yeah, at this point now, the mindset has changed. Because now I realize that I have been home over a year getting $800-900 a week and not having to leave home and go to work. I have the things that I want, but not what I need. I need health care. I'm not concerned about going to the doctor. I need benefits.
Listen,
I need a retirement.
Well,
I need a
you have jumped
401k.
into deep water right
Yeah,
here.
you know, and
you have jumped into some
right. So the things
the
that
middle of the ocean.
the things that I see that I actually need, I'm not concerned about it because I have the things that I want. I got lobster tails. I got shrimp. I got steak. I have a used car that I'm paying for.
Is that why
week.
I can't find any crab legs?
You won't find any. Not no time soon. So you know, and it's funny to a degree, but then it's sad to another degree because what it has done, as I said before, it's changed the mindset.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And again, when you look at it from a monetary standpoint, it's more lucrative to stay at home than to go back into the workforce. And so hence the reason why you see a lot of employers that are providing incentives, monetary incentives and bonuses to actually come to work. Heretofore, you didn't see that at different hospitality places.
I see it at
and
McDonald's.
restaurants.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, McDonald's, you'll see where they're advertising $5,000 to $1,000 just as a sign-on bonus.
Wow.
But again, that's some of the things that we are battling when you think about how to get talent back into the workforce.
How to get talent back in the workforce.
Yes.
Listen, what are your thoughts about it? Is it more lucrative to stay home and get a stimulus check, get child care, incentives, whatever, than to go out and be gainfully employed? What are your thoughts about it? Give me a comment in the feed. Let me know. Wow, it blew my mind when I went to a McDonald's. Who, by the way, their ice cream machine never works. Okay, and now the Federal Bureau of Investigation is looking into that.
Absolutely.
I'm like, finally, somebody feels my pain. But okay, I digress. Let me come back. Yeah, I saw. They're offering $500 to $1,000 for a McDonald's.
Yes. And then they're also, I have a snapshot where they're offering $31 an hour.
$31 an hour at McDonald's?
At McDonald's,
Get
$31
out of
an hour.
here.
So you're in a price war, you're in a hiring war because people don't want to work. And when you talk about millennials, this is really amazing.
Okay, wait. We're going there. We're going there.
We're getting there.
You full to the brim. You ready? Okay, but let me just ask you this. How are we going to keep this up? What's going to happen either to people when there's no more stimulus check, will the corporations continue to offer these dollar amounts? What will happen? Or will we go back to the way it was? What do you all see on the horizon for that?
Well, I see that there will be a little bit of that continuing.
Okay.
Because again, when you think about the type of workforce that we're needing, then again, as Mance alluded to, there's a price war. And so now, where you've got some employers that are paying $31 an hour, heretofore they were paying 20.
Wow.
And so now, applicants, they have choices. And not that they didn't have them before, but they have choices and they have options.
Y'all are giving me so much to think about. So if I'm in a particular career or field, profession, would it be advantageous for me to exit and come back in? Because now I come back in with the possibility of making more than when I was in there. If I've already been working somewhere 10, 15 years, but the new hires, they're paying more, offering more to, would it be more advantageous? What y'all think about that?
What do you think?
I know I'm off script, but this
You
is,
good.
y'all have just stimulated my thought,
Yeah.
my
No.
thinking.
Well, again, it would depend on the employer, because some employers do have, certain clauses that,
Okay.
if you leave, depending
Okay.
on, 60, 90 days, whether or not you return, whether
Okay.
or not you'll be able to, again, be able to make the same salary or more. But from an employer standpoint, it would be advantageous to not have the employee to leave in the first place, because, again, there goes, that historical knowledge that they could bring to the table. And, of
Right.
course, you want to be able to
Historical
maintain.
knowledge, I like
Yes,
that.
you want to be able to
Historical
retain.
knowledge, I like that. I love new terms.
Yes.
Okay. Wow. Okay, so Mance, you were bringing the millennials in, and I gotta ask, let's go there.
Mhm.
What do you all see as the difference? When I was thinking about even what I was going to wear for this particular episode,
Mhm.
and I was thinking about, you all are in recruiting and all of that. And back in the day, when I was a college kid and looking for a job, we were trained to go into an interview in your Black Power suit,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And
Yes.
you had your flesh tone hose on, and you had on hose,
Absolutely.
pantyhose.
Absolutely.
And I mean, I know people aren't wearing pantyhose anymore, but anyway. But I'm saying you were trained even by your parents, not just by school and other places, but your parents told you you were to look the part.
Absolutely.
Is that expected now?
Well, here we go again. What has happened? The generation has changed. There are no more parents. Okay.
Okay.
Grandmother is 38.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So she has a tattoo. She's dressing.
I love a good conversation. Let me tell you something, because it happens right here on Conversations with Linda.
Yeah.
We just go there. Come on, man. Let's go there.
Yeah, she's not dressing as appropriately as she should to be that kind of an example.
Okay.
I'll give you a great example. When I started in 1979, that was the worst winter. Rain, sleet, snow, ice. They came on television and said, if you don't have to go out, don't go. Rain, sleet, snow, ice, it's bad. My mom said, Mance, it's bad. It's bad out there. I'm like, ooh, I go tonight. She said, drive slow.
Yes.
So you didn't have that option of saying, I don't want to go, because your parents knew the value of having employment. They knew the value of you as a young person getting on board, because they saw ahead. You need a retirement later on. You need to buy a home before you get 30. So you won't be 70 or 80 years old with a mortgage. They saw that then, although they probably couldn't afford those things, but they saw the potential in their kids. Where now parents are doing, young people things with their young people. They're going out with them. They're hanging out with them. They're telling them that they don't need that much or whatever. And so the generation has really, really, really shifted in the age perspective.
That's so true. So have companies do they have to make the shift, or have they had to make the shift as well, because it's just a new day? How have they had to adapt?
Absolutely. Organizations have had to adapt and relax their dress code to the type of employees that they're trying
What's
to.
acceptable, LaShundia?
Business casual.
Business
And
casual. Okay.
business
What?
casual.
Okay.
And
Tell
so-
tell us.
We're going to
Tell
tell you
us
what that looks like.
What is business casual?
So business casual is going to be dress pants, dress slacks, a dress shirt,
A dress shirt.
not necessarily a jacket.
Okay. Okay.
Not necessarily.
And
a
I wouldn't have
jacket.
ever gone on an interview without having a jacket on.
Mhm.
Never, ever.
No stockings are, of course, you alluded to that,
Right.
back in
Yeah, but aren't we glad that we don't have to wear stockings everywhere? But I mean, I still wear them. But I mean,
Yeah.
aren't we glad we don't have to wear them like we used to?
Absolutely.
However, when you say, and I'm saying this not to offend anybody, but
Right.
there are people in our viewing audience who, as you say, they may not have anyone to set the parameters,
Right.
to give them what's appropriate, what's expected. Tell us, when you say dress pants, dress shirt, what's dress? Is that khakis and a polo? What's dress?
Well, it depends on the industry.
Okay, okay.
Depending on the industry, khakis are appropriate.
Okay.
When you walk into a Gap, you'll see that everyone in there
Right.
generally has on khakis and a nice polo shirt. So depending on
Okay.
the industry,
Look at the
determines
industry.
what type of dress you're going to come into.
Okay.
For FedEx, you wouldn't, if you're going into the hub, you wouldn't go in with a suit on.
With a
If you're
suit,
if you're
okay.
loading a plane, you're going
Right.
to go in there dressed appropriately.
Okay.
But again,
But
dress,
what if I'm coming in for a management position and I'm at International Paper or
in that particular instance, then I would recommend a tailored suit.
a tailored
A
suit.
tailored suit
Mhm.
with a jacket
Okay.
and a dress shirt
Okay.
that goes with it, along with appropriate shoes.
Appropriate shoes.
Now you
Yes,
have to go
dress
back
shoes.
to the point of millennials and the millennial who started a multi-billion-dollar company.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
Facebook.
Facebook, absolutely.
He started it, and the founder, he wears a T-shirt and jeans every day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The people that run Apple, Microsoft, they wear jeans, shirts.
Absolutely.
At Nike, the CEO wears jeans and Nike shirts
Shirts.
every day.
Okay.
So their mindset is it's too complicated to have to think about what to wear every day.
Okay.
So I got 10 black T-shirts, 10 pair of jeans. I know when I get up, I can just put that on because
Absolutely.
my mindset is on the business, making money,
Absolutely.
and how to get things done more so than how I look. And that has bled over into this new generation, and also the music.
Yes.
Okay.
How the musicians now are dressing.
Okay. Wait a minute. Wait. Because you have introduced a whole another segment into this episode. So many of you may not know that Mance HN, and you probably do know if you live in the Memphis community, but we do have viewers from all around the country, that Mance HN is not only a recruiter for FedEx, but he is also a musician, and a longtime musician in a couple of churches now, because you've had such a long career. You've spent 20-some years in one church.
Yeah, 30.
30,
Yeah.
and now, so anyway, so he introduced a whole nother segment. Can we just come back to Conversations with Linda, a different episode, and just talk about that whole thing?
Yeah.
Because
Well, I wasn't even
we're going to
talking.
put it on the
But
table
you know what?
about that.
I wasn't even talking about church. I was talking about the generation of young people that are watching your R&B singers now.
Okay.
So they wear jeans. They sag. And so
Okay, so it's no
they've
longer
made
like
that,
the Temptations
right.
and the Four Tops when
Absolutely.
they
Well,
came out with.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
just said
And
something.
when you go to your high-end stores now, or even when you go shopping now, you have to find dress shoes because everything now is sneakers.
That is so
Absolutely.
true. And I had to
Yeah.
listen. It's so interesting that you said that, because I came through corporate. People may not know that about me, but I came through corporate. I worked for a major corporation, Johnson & Johnson to be exact.
Mhm.
And so I wasn't your tennis shoe girl. So in the last few years, I had foot surgery, and that has caused me to have to wear tennis shoes more than I ever had in
Right.
my life. I mean, I could wear, in high school, I wore heels every day.
Mhm.
But what I'm finding is all these dress tennis shoes. And so it is kind of helping me, because I'm just kind of a girly girl, and I like to be kind of dressed up so I
Right.
can find dress tennis shoes. But yeah, it's a whole different landscape
Absolutely.
now
Absolutely.
of what's
Absolutely.
considered dressing. But as a recruiter, and you've given the example of Facebook and all of those corporations. When someone comes to you,
Mhm.
are you paying attention to how they're dressed?
You better know it because guess what? I
Okay.
see you before I hear you.
Absolutely, I agree
Absolutely.
with you.
And I've already prejudged, predicated upon what I'm looking at. There's a law firm that's very prominent, and I've heard the commercials, and I'm like, oh, this is great, until I saw the billboard. Because there's a certain way that you need to represent me.
I think it's so funny that you bring that up.
Yeah.
I just had a conversation with another guest about that very thing. So go ahead.
Yeah,
I digress. I digress.
Yeah, so it's important, especially when you're going into a corporate atmosphere, and you may have the education, you may have the degrees, you may have the experience, but we're now into two elements. My daughter went to school. She graduated from Lamont. She's an AKA, then went on to and got a master's degree, but she still found it hard to get into upper management in a company because two elements are in place now: who you know and who likes you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's
unfortunate, but it's true.
It's unfortunate, but it's very
absolutely.
Very true. Yeah.
It's very true.
On Conversations with Linda, I always interject Linda-isms, and I want to interject a Linda-ism right now because I agree with Mance, and it's one of my Linda-isms that people see you before they ever hear you. And we used to say a long time ago is first impressions are lasting impressions. So you may even be going to a particular company whose industry is the dress is more relaxed. But I'm telling you, you have that opportunity to step through that door and make a good impression that will say you are coming in for this entry-level position, but I can see you in another place. I can see you in management. That has happened to me so many times. So I want to just remind you of that. People see you before they hear you. Good information, I'm telling you. And I'm believing even now, as we're talking to our viewers, that you are helping some who are now in search of a job and wondering, what should I wear? How should I present myself? But let's talk about some other things that you all have seen. And I don't want to bash millennials, right? Because I really have an appreciation for a lot of the things that they bring to the table.
Absolutely.
But in what other ways are companies having to adjust and adapt, not just in attire, but what other ways to this new, not just, wait a minute, can we say this? Not just the millennials, but Generation Z, right? Is that Gen Z? Yeah. So how are you all having to adjust?
Well, one thing is mindset. You have to realize now that this new generation, they're not coming into jobs now looking to stay 30, 40 years.
Absolutely.
And you've been with FedEx, one company, 41
years.
But what you're saying is that's not even the expectation.
It really isn't. And
okay.
it's I'm speaking from experience in my own home. My daughter's 28, and she's been with her company now for 4 years, and she's already looking for the next event. Yeah. And I'm like, you got to stay somewhere so you can have retirement. But
do they expect to retire? Because I don't know that people even.
They don't even talk about it.
They don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Generally, individuals are staying on jobs anywhere from 36 to 60 months. So if you're able to retain them for at least 5 years, you're batting.
Wait. Good. Slow down. Let me take that in. 3 to 5 years.
3 to 5 years. Yes.
And then they move on. But you're just, getting roots. Or do people not concerned about roots?
They're not concerned. They're not concerned about roots. And so when you speak to employers and what things that we need to do as employers to be able to retain is, again, flexibility.
Okay.
Post-COVID, you're talking about, more remote opportunities.
Okay.
Flexible schedules where you're not confined to the office, where you're maybe 2 days in the office, 3 days working from home.
Now, I got to tell you, I really do like that. And I mean, I'm not in that, in the workforce in that way.
Right.
But I do see the advantages of working remotely or a hybrid situation. I really do, because I think that for many people, just the chore of having to go to a particular place every day can take some of your joy away. But if you can have that hybrid situation, you at least feel like you've got some variety and diversity,
Absolutely.
some choices. Okay, go
Absolutely.
upstairs. Sorry.
But it also helps when you think about childcare
Mm.
issues where
Mhm.
you're able to drop your kids off at work, pick them up after school.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
again, so those are some of the things when you think about flexibility in the workplace
Mhm.
that employers that we're having to adjust to
Okay.
in order to be able to retain our employees.
Okay.
Mhm.
So flexibility
Mm-hmm.
is different, or is being offered now. What else, means anything else that you can think of that what is FedEx offering now that that it didn't offer 20 years ago?
Wow, this is what's happening now. If you think about, let's just talk about. I just did a thing in Atlanta last week that I'm doing now in different places across the country, where now we're offering transportation.
Get out of here.
We will pick you up,
Wait a minute.
bring you to work,
You will pick an employee up,
bring you to work, and once you're done, take you back.
take you back.
So now I have 7 designated places in Memphis right now where we have shuttles that are running from that spot to FedEx, and once they finish working, take them back.
Okay,
Now-
wait a minute. I think a light bulb has come on. Because maybe I can see an advantage to that. Come on, you finish talking. But
So let's go a little deeper than that. Greenville, Mississippi is 2.5 hours away. About 3 years ago, a lady reached out to me. She saw something I did in Indy, asked me if I would come to Cleveland, Mississippi. I said, no, 2 hours. So she said, just come. I went down there on Tuesday night. 400 people were waiting on me.
Wow.
So I called my vice president, my senior vice president. He said, listen, if you get a certain amount of people, we'll run a shuttle. From that time to today, now we're running 6 luxury buses because it's a 2-hour ride. Anything that's 2 hours has to have a restroom. So that means you have to have luxury buses. They're riding
My
2
mouth
hours.
is open.
They're riding, and Greenville is 30 minutes from that. So we're riding 2.5 hours from Greenville, Mississippi to Memphis. They work, and we take them back free of charge. We're doing the same thing in Grenada. I just finished doing it in Atlanta last week, and we're looking at some other markets. We're doing it in Jackson, Tennessee. So then we're looking at also, and it's at this point now where, we're picking people up from home.
Wow. Okay, so let's talk about are the benefits that they get there on time now? Are the benefits that you get more people? Tell me I think I was having an aha moment because at first I was like, okay, that's ludicrous. But when I think about the fact that everybody doesn't own transportation,
Right.
buses don't go everywhere.
Right.
I could see how that would be beneficial.
Yeah, and the pandemic has caused a lot of small companies to close.
Okay.
So it gave us an opportunity to reach out a little further where we were able to offer transportation.
Right.
If you can just get to this spot, we'll bring you to Memphis, and we're paying, they're making full-time hours with full-time benefits.
And that is the advantage is giving someone that lives in a rural area an opportunity to come to the city. I get it. I get it.
All of that.
Because at first I couldn't wrap my mind around it, but I get it now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if you're willing to ride 2 hours,
right.
that means you really need it.
Yeah.
And you want it.
Yeah.
And so these are the people that
that makes sense.
We try to do all we can to advance them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, folk, there is no reason for you to be unemployed. All right. There are opportunities. We have 2 distinguished guests here that are telling us things have changed. They will come and get you. I love it. I love it. The other thing I want us to talk about for a moment is we have, distinguished or disseminated between Gen Z, millennials, and what do we call folk like me? Are we, baby boomers, whatever, Is there a difference in the quality of work that you see put out by the different generations?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Because now that everything is computerized, the millennials are able to do it faster.
Oh yeah.
They think quicker.
They just take my phone. You know, it's like I'm going too slow. They just take my phone and do it for me.
Yeah, they do it faster, and they're very efficient with it.
Okay.
Technology.
So efficiency
efficiency
in this millennial group, Gen Z.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
The
absolutely.
knowledge base. Okay.
Absolutely. So when you talk about creativity and being able to think outside of the box, they tend to be more team oriented because that's a lot of what you will find in millennials, where they're working in teams.
Okay.
Reaching out.
So they don't like the hierarchy structure. They like the collaborative.
Right. Working cross-functionally. Absolutely.
Okay. So say that term again.
Cross-functional.
Cross-functional. I got to write that down. I got to be up on all of this. I talk to so many people, and I had to write that down. Cross-functional. Okay. Now that's interesting though that you said that, because when I talk to millennials, they tend to want to work in silos. They like to kind of be independent, not as team oriented. So is that a particular kind? They like, leave me alone, let me do what I do, and then I'll bring you back the product.
Right. You'll find some of that also.
Okay.
But then when you're talking about, depending on the type of project that they're working on, they're very heavily in social media, and so you'll find that they're working cross-functionally or collaboratively across social media platforms.
Okay.
And so in order to be able to solve whatever problem that they're working on.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what about when I think about, again, I keep using myself. I know I'm dating myself, but I'll just be the guinea pig of this show. We understood hierarchy, rules, just submitting to authority. If your boss said it, if the company dictated it, that's just what you did. Do you find that a lot of this transitioning, this 3 to 5 years, is because if I don't like the rules, if my boss micromanaging me, I'm moving to the next place? Do you think that plays into it?
I think it definitely does.
Okay.
For the most part, it's what's in it for me.
Okay.
Where heretofore it was all about the company
and
what was in the best interest of the company. It's now more what's in it for me. What type of benefits do you have that are relevant to me outside of just maternity leave? What other aspects about this job is going to help me to get to where I need to be?
Okay.
And so it's no longer a one-sided conversation. It's a dialogue.
That's good. That's good. Good insight. Okay. So I just mentioned, when they don't like the rules or, dealing with the hierarchy, what are the proper channels that one should take for conflict in the workplace? Because as I said, I hear people saying, oh, I left that company because, such and such happened, or I fell out with my supervisor or whatever. Since both of you are also, familiar with this whole HR function, how should a person handle that? So I got a problem with my supervisor or a problem with a coworker. We are talking about new people entering the workforce all the time, and they don't always have the mentorship, someone to tell them what to do. Can you speak to that, both of you? Either of you take that on?
There's a certain protocol
that's
in place in your companies. There's a guaranteed fair treatment policy.
Guaranteed
fair treatment policy. If you feel that,
I'm writing that down. Go ahead.
If you feel that something has happened unjust, or you feel that you're being treated unfairly, your supervisor just can't come and say, well, you just got to deal with it. There's a process, because every boss has a boss.
Every boss has a boss. Absolutely. I love it. But what you don't do is what? What should you not do? Like, you shouldn't cuss anybody out.
Absolutely.
Shouldn't storm out the job.
No.
And not come back for a day or two.
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
Because these things happen.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do.
Okay. So y'all hear it right there. There is a guaranteed fair treatment policy. Is that across the board? Every corporation?
All of your major corporations and companies are going to have policies in place where you can feel comfortable, sharing your experiences in your office or things that have happened to you personally. You don't have to just sit there and just say, "Wow,
Just okay.
this has happened." There's a protocol, but you have to follow the process.
Yes.
Follow
Absolutely.
the process. There is a protocol. Listen, I am telling you, we are getting some valuable information from Mance HN and LaShundia Brooks. Both of them have long-time experience in the professions that they're in, recruitment, hiring, human resources, and this is just invaluable because some of these things we don't know, and because we don't know, we make huge mistakes and errors, and it causes us sometimes to miss opportunity. And so I'm so glad that you all are speaking to this. Let's go back to as we're wrapping things up, these do's and don'ts. You mentioned tattoos, and I almost fell out of my chair because I'm just not of the generation where you had tattoos, and if you had them, they were not where they were displayed to the general public, right? Yeah. I had to have my shorts on to be seen. My short blouse on or whatever. I don't have a tattoo, but that was the mindset. Is it all right now? Do you all receive people and they got the whole sleeve tattooed, or up on the neck? Come on now.
Yeah, we do. You do.
It's okay.
Yes. Yeah, you do.
It's okay.
But it goes back to time because I'm 59. My generation was you had your shirt unbuttoned here with 5 chains on.
Right.
And then it went from that to having an earring. And then the afro. Right. And the Miami Stomper shoes.
Come on up in this house.
So it has shifted now.
Yeah.
I go back to the music that we listen to. When you look at the videos, your musicians now, I won't say like rappers or whatever, but just your musicians now, they have sleeves.
Right.
So that means my favorite artist got a sleeve. It's acceptable.
Right.
I go now to some religious organizations and I look at the individual who's bringing the word and they have earrings and it's cool.
Absolutely.
And they're dressed in jeans.
Right.
Whereas when I went to Sunday school, I had to have on a shirt and tie and whatever. So now when you look up front, it's more about what's in you than what's on you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, I won't start preaching right there.
I know you can, right?
Right.
I know you can. Yeah.
But to your point, each generation, I'm sure, had some things that were considered unacceptable by the former generation.
Absolutely.
Because our parents looked at some of our stuff. I know, I've always dyed my hair since I came of age, and I could go to the drugstore and get my own color. I would. But my mother hated it. I mean, she just thought, your hair is your glory, and why would you want to put all that dye in your hair? And I was like, Mama, to the day I die, I'm gonna have and if I don't have any hair, better put me on a blonde wig, right? So I can see how each generation can have some biases, and I get it. So, what are some other do's and don'ts in the interview, other than attire? Can you all give some helpful either tools to take in, or what would impress you? Let's go there. What would impress you in an interview?
Well, the first thing is to be cognitive of your surroundings.
Okay.
When you pull onto the parking lot.
Okay.
People are watching. And so be cognitive
even on the parking
lot. How you interact with the receptionist. How you interact with the person who's welcoming you.
That is so good because she may go into the person that's going to interview you and make either a good comment or a bad comment.
Absolutely.
That's so good.
So you want to be very cognitive of how you treat the receptionist or secretary that's greeting you there. I always recommend to arrive 15 minutes early because if you're on time, you're late. So you want to make sure.
Wait. Let's take that in. Listen, people, if you're on time, you're late. Right.
You're late.
Okay, go ahead.
So you want to make sure that you arrive at least 15 minutes. Know exactly where you're going. The morning of the interview, you shouldn't be trying to figure out where you have to go.
That makes you late.
Because that makes you late.
Right.
So you want to be cognitive of that. Also, do your homework. Know a little bit about the company that
Absolutely.
you are actually interviewing with. What is their business? How long
Mm.
have they been in business? Be able to speak to some of the, if there's any recent press releases that they put out to the public,
Mhm.
be able to speak to that.
Okay.
You don't want to walk into the interview asking the interviewer about the company, which tells us that you haven't done your homework, that you've applied for a position, but you have no knowledge about
Wow.
what the position is, what we do, how long we've been doing it, and so you want
That's
to do
good.
you want to do your homework on the organization that you're trying to attach yourself to, and not just even what their social and digital footprint looks like.
Social and digital footprint.
Yes, what are they
Yes.
doing in the community?
Okay.
Are they, St. Jude, FedEx is a really good big partner with St. Jude, and so you see them out doing a lot of community activities. So you
Wow.
want to know what type of community or digital footprint do they have. So
That
you
is
want to
so
be cognizant
good.
of that. In addition to that, clean up your digital footprint, because
Wait.
Yeah.
Because we got to spend a few minutes, just a few, on
Yes.
this. Did y'all hear her say,
Clean up.
clean up your digital footprint?
print.
In the words of Pastor Gina Stewart, hear this with your good ear. Now tell us about cleaning up your digital footprint.
Absolutely. Most oftentimes than not, people will Google you. So depending upon what organization you're attaching yourself to, then they want to know who they are hiring. And so you want to make sure that your personal life would not impede upon your employer. So you want to make sure that your digital footprint
That is so
represents you in a good way and in a positive way.
So I don't need to go on your Facebook page and see you naked.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Because you have companies that have people that are designated just to monitor Facebook.
Really?
Absolutely.
Really?
And I have seen people
Wait
in
a
companies.
minute.
I've seen people in companies lose their jobs because they didn't realize that. They think that once they get off work, I'm off work, I do my thing.
Yeah.
But once you sign on to certain jobs, you're that person, whether you're working or not. You're representing.
Represent them.
And so if you have a high profile job and you're on Facebook at an outing or a party and you smoking a hookah, I just found out what that was. It's a reflection on the company.
Absolutely.
And somebody's watching.
I am so glad that you all are taking the time to give this information. I came through Inroads. I don't know if you all know about Inroads here in Memphis, but years ago, there was an organization called Inroads, and Inroads mentored high school students like me, African American, and prepared us for corporate America. And these are the things, and of course there wasn't social media, but attire and all that these are the things we learned. Even if you didn't have a mama or a dad that told you those things, taught you those things, I had Inroads. So even coming from a low income family, all of that, I had this kind of training.
Absolutely.
Kids don't oftentimes have that now.
Absolutely.
So you all are really giving out nuggets that could really change the trajectory of someone's work life, career. They could actually have a career if they embrace some of the things that you all are sharing.
And you know what? To your point, after your interview is over, what's important is really important after it's over. Make sure that you know the names of your interviewers and send them a thank you email. Send them a thank you letter for allowing you an opportunity to even apply, and the things you talked about, how you enjoyed the conversation, and how you would just love at this point, now that you've been interviewed, to be a part of such a great organization.
Because that may set you apart.
Absolutely.
But because there may be contemplating looking at 2 or 3 different applicants, and that one thank you note.
Yes.
Do you all do that? Do you send out the thank you note to say thank you for that interview, thank you for your time? Is that how you got your job? Did that set you apart? Give me a comment in the feed. But look, I got to come back to this because I want to just put some weight on this, because I see even as a pastor, I see some things on Facebook and I'm thinking, it's not about me. It's about everybody else that's looking at it. Because I'm looking at all aspects of people's lives, because as a pastor, I'm a shepherd, and I think about, what we're doing to set ourselves up for failure. So listen, folk, this is Conversations with Linda. No hookahs on Facebook thinking that you're going to have a long-term career. You're going to get that high dollar job. No nakedness on Facebook. All right. There has to be some degree of separation between what you do in your personal life and what you put on display for the public. All right. Think about those things as you are, trying to entertain social media with your work, with your life. Think about that's just one aspect of your life. You've got all of this other career and all that leads to destiny, and you don't want that one moment, that one picture to cause your destiny to be derailed. Our question today is from a viewer in Memphis, Tennessee. They ask, how do I handle a long distance relationship? Well, my advice to you is to manage your expectation. The expectation of how often will you see each other? Will that be enough for you to feel as if you're in a good or solid or quality relationship? And then how often will you communicate each day? It's easy to slip into feeling neglected or feeling abandoned because you're not talking to the person all day long or you're not FaceTiming. And the reality is, you've got to work, they've got to work, you have other obligations. And so you want to have an expectation or a communicated expectation of just how often you will talk to one another. And then how much will you really get to know the person in this long distance relationship? Anybody can put their best foot forward on FaceTime, but will you get to know them by just text messaging, talking on the phone, and doing FaceTime? So my advice is take advantage of those times when you all come together to not be in isolation, right? Because we love to, when we do get that time together, be in isolation for the sake of intimacy. But you need to be spending some time in spaces where you can be observant of the person's behavior, because we don't only want to hear what they say, we want to see what they do. And so you need to be around them in with their family, go to public spaces with them, restaurants, what have you. I even say, look in the refrigerator. See what's in the refrigerator, because that tells you a lot about a person, about what's in their refrigerator. Do all of those things. Observe the person in their natural habitat. And then lastly, how long are you going to exist in this space? I know we say absence makes the heart grow fonder, but there's another saying that says out of sight, out of mind. And so you've got to manage your expectations with how long we can go in this relationship this way. So long distance relationships can be worked out, but you've got to work through your expectations.
If you have a question for Linda, submit it online at lindawillisempowers.org. She's a wife, she's a mother and grandmother, she's a pastor and life strategist. Submit your question today at lindawillisempowers.org.
This has just been so good. It's so much that we could talk about, but you all have supplied us definitely with some great information, some knowledge, and I believe that knowledge applied is power.
Absolutely.
And I want you to just share now, if you will, Mance, especially you, because I think right now, you, like you said, you are going all over America. How can folk get a job with FedEx, and how can they get one of those good jobs like you have?
FedExCareers.com. You can go on that website, or you can come to 2874 Business Park Drive, Building D, which I recommend that you do, because when you come there, you can do everything on spot: application, fingerprint, and background. And the thing is this: we do drug tests, because
Okay.
you can't work on federal property without drug tests. And if you
That's
know
a whole
that you're
nother-
coming to,
That's a whole nother beast.
if you know you're coming to apply for a job, make sure that you've been cleansed.
Awesome. This is
yeah.
really a great time to get
Yeah.
into the workforce. And this is a great time to change careers, even if you are considering that. LaShundia, is there any information you want to give to our audience to tell them where they can either reach you or come on.
Absolutely. If they want to reach out to me, then they can send me an email
Okay.
at midsouthhrconsulting@gmail.com.
All right.
And I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that they may have regarding human resources and or connect them with any hiring employers that I'm aware of.
Oh, wonderful. Listen, this has been a wonderful conversation. It has been power packed with information, with just a knowledge that many of our viewers may not even have, but you are now empowered. You now have the tools you need to go out and get that good job and hopefully even get a bonus as you're getting it. I'm out of time, but y'all know I'm never out of conversation. Join me each Sunday evening at 7 p.m. right here on Conversations with Linda on any of your social media outlets. All right, here, I got to throw this card. I'm out of here.